All right, this is Daf Yomi in motion, number 805. Today we're going to learn Daf Pei Hey in Metzia, and we're going to be speaking about Gadloso Shel Rebbe Chiah. The Gemara will start on the bottom of Pei Daled Amid Base, last line. So first we're going to continue what we were speaking about before, that Rebbe had just heard from his father, don't worry about the fact that Rebbe Elazar, Rebbe Shimon is greater than you in Torah because he's an Ari ben Ari. His father is Rebbe Shimon bar Yochai, and you, Rebbe, you're an Ari ben Shu'al. You're an Ari, you're very great, but your father is me, Rebbe Shimon ben Gamliel. And he was, Rebbe Shimon Gamliel was claiming about himself that he was only a Shu'al. So that was a really humble thing to say. So the Gemara says, "V'hainu de'omar Rebbe shlosha abusonin." And there are three that acted with the nivus. And ve'elu hen Abba. One is Rebbe Shimon Gamliel, his father, who said such a thing, that he said on himself that he was only a shu'al. Then Bnei Beseira, and the Bnei Beseira had been appointed we'll see in a second, they were appointed leaders over the people. And they backed down when Hillel Azakin came. They appointed Hillel over themselves. Yonasan ben Shaul, and Yonasan, who was obviously second to his father, he also said something which was very humble. So the Gemara says, Shimon ben Gamliel, where did he act humbly? Had Amran, in that which we said, that he called himself a Shu'al. Father, that you're an Ari ben Shu'al. Ben Beseira, where do they act humbly? The Omar Mar Hoshivuhu Pirosh. They were going to appoint the Bnei Beseira as the leaders. Minuhu Linasi Alehen, and they then appointed Hillel as the Nasi over them. That was instead of them taking the lead, they gave it over to Hillel ben Shaul. The Ka'amale
says that they gave it over to the Hill. Nothing about they seated Hill at the head and called him Nasi.
Right. Because they themselves had been appointed.
Instead of themselves, they already were in the seat.
Right. They were already.
Then when they saw he was greater, they appointed him instead of themselves.
Right. They were already the leaders, and they appointed Hill over themselves. Right. But also. And so it says, Yonasan ben Shaul, where do we see that he acted humbly? He told David from the Pasuk in Shmuel, it says, Be'ato timloch al Yisrael, ve'anoichi eyelach lemishneh. So he said, you'll escape from my father, you'll get away, and then you will rule over Klal Israel, and I'll be the second in your command. So why did he put himself second? He himself, Yonasan, was the son of the king. So he's putting himself second to David. That was a very humble thing to say. So there's three cases that Rebbe brought down, that there are three that acted humbly. So, in fact, why do you say that these are humble acts? These aren't really humble acts at all. You might. Yonasan ben Shaul, maybe. Maybe Yonasan ben Shaul, when he said that I will be second to you, maybe that wasn't such a humble act. The Chazid Goria Arma Basar David, because he saw everybody was going after David, and he realized that if he would attempt to take control of Am Yisrael, nobody would follow him anyway. So then he just said, I'll be second in command, because he knew David was going to take the lead. So that's not such an act of humility to say such a thing. And also the Bnei Beseira, also they were leading the people, and then they appointed Hill over everybody. Nami, the Chazul Hill to Adif Minai, Hill was greater than themselves. Rashi says that in second line down in Rashi, the Chazul Hill to Adif Minai, they saw that Hill was greater than them. It says. The hilchos shayu nishalim mehem. There was different halachas that were asked, and they completely forgot the halachas. Nishalim mehem, the Beis HaMedrash. Ne'elamois mehen. They completely forgot them. The boishin b'davar, and they were embarrassed about the thing. Well, Hillel. So they saw that Hillel was greater in learning than them. They stepped down. Cases where it doesn't necessarily demonstrate humility that they said what they said. Ella Rabban Shimon Gamliel to have said about themselves that he's a shual. There was no explanation in relation to. He said that Rebbe is an Ari ben Shual in relation to who? In relation to Elazar Rebbe Shimon. Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai was already nifter, so there's no other explanation of why he would consider himself a shual except there was a nivus. So vadai and bosan heavy. That was definitely humility to say such a thing. So we see that Rebbe Shimon Gamliel acted very humbly. Amar Rebbe. Chavivin. So then, after Rebbe had seen what had happened with Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon, he had been Metzia himself for 20 during his lifetime, and then after he died, his body was put in the attic and wasn't buried for 22 years, about 20 years, and it didn't rot at all. So that was the result of having been Metzia his goof, that the goof became so pure that no worms were able to decay it. So Rebbe saw the greatness of Isurim, and he also took on Isurim, but not necessarily in the same way that Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon did. Amar Rebbe Chavivin Isurim. He saw the greatness of Isurim, and therefore, when something bad happened to him, he was makabel it in a good way. But he didn't exactly bring it on himself the way Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon did. It came on him, and then after it came on Rebbe, he accepted it willingly. So he saw a Chavivin Isurim. Kabel ole klesa shane. So he was makabel. He didn't ask for it; it just came to him, and then he was accepted it. So 13 years. Sheis be simrisa. 6 years with kidney stones. So every time he had to urinate, it was excruciatingly painful. And then another 7 years be tzafidna, with scurvy, with mouth disease. Sometimes some type of other disease, mouth disease, affects the mouth. Some say it was the opposite, that it was 7 years of kidney stones and 6 years of scurvy. Yamrei la shiva b'tzmirosa with kidney stones. The shis b'tzafrana, b'tzafidna, with mouth infection. And it says that the Aruyore, the horse tender of Rebbe, the Rebbe, have a osir mishvur malka. The horse tender of Rebbe was richer than the king Shavur Malka, meaning he himself had so much livestock, and he combined it together with Rebbe's livestock, and it was a massive amount of animals. And every time, and nevertheless, he still took care of the animals, and he took care of Rebbe's animals also. And every time that they would feed them, since there was so many animals, it would make such a loud noise that it could be heard from far away. So, Kidahavi Rami Kisisa Lechiyusa. Every time he went to feed all of the animals, Havi Ozil Kola B'Tolsamili. The sound of the animals feeding went to a distance of 3 mil. So Havi Mechabin, they tried to arrange that. Every time Rebbe would have to go to the bathroom, Beisakise, and it would be painful for him, that they arrange that would be the feeding time, so it should drown out Rebbe's screams of agony. So the Mechabin do Rami Bahi Shatza de Ayo Rebbe Lebeis Akise, that they should arrange that would be feeding time, so it would not for Rebbe's covered, and the whole city wouldn't hear Rebbe screaming out. Nevertheless, Mo'avarle Kola the Kalayu. Nevertheless, the Rebbe screams out were louder than the noise of all the animals put together. Shomule Nachuse Yom, and even down by the coast, the sailors could hear his scream.
What are we supposed to do that? sailors hearing the scream? Was it a long way to the coast? Why is that significant?
You need to check it out. Other Meforshim.
I'm just wondering why that. And obviously, they're trying to say it's very loud. Is there some?
It's obviously very loud. It was a distance from the sea. We're talking Rebbe. Maybe it was from where were they located? To check it out. It's a good question. Definitely. I mean,
do you know if he lived in the ocean?
No, don't know. But definitely good to check out what was going on, what exactly is being meant by that. But nevertheless, we see the Yisurim that Rebbe had. Nevertheless, the Yisurim of Rebbe Elazar ben Shimon that he brought boils on himself, they were more significant, more better than what we saw Rebbe had. But Yisur the Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon, Adife mid Rebbe, were even greater than. Why? The Eli Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon. They came because he asked for them. He said, my brothers and my friends come at night. And then in the morning he said, go away because I have to learn Torah. So he called them on every night and he sent them away every morning. But Rebbe's Yisurim, like we said, weren't like that. Rather, they came by themselves and he then accepted them. So the Rebbe, Ayidei Maisabo, however, Rebbe's Yisurim, they came because something happened. Actually, it's because of his Maisim. Ayidei Maisa Holchem, because of his Maisa, because he is like improvement of his Maisim, they went away. Ayidei Maisa Bo, Mahi, what happened? The Hahu Agolo, there was a calf that the Habu Ko Mimatu Leila Shchita, they would bring it to Shchita. The Ozel Talia Lereshe Bikanfe the Rabbi. So he took his head and he put it under the cloak of Rebbe. We called Boche, and it was crying out, Omalei, and Rebbe then said, and it was saying, save me. So Rebbe told the calf that you should go to slaughter because that's what you were created for. Omalei zil lichach notzart. Go to slaughter because that's why you were created. That was considered in Shemaim a lack of rachamim. Omrei hoil v'lo ko merachim leisu or leisun. They said in Shemaim, since he wasn't merachim, so let's bring some yisurim to him. Therefore, you should have some yisurim. That's why he had those yisurim of that area every time he had to urinate. And then at the end, when the yisurim was taken off of him, so it was for Maisa that he showed that he had rachamim, and then in Shemaim they decided to be merachim on him because he showed rachamim. Ayidei Maisa holchu. Because of a Maisa, the Yisurim went away from him. Yoma Chad Haviko Menashe Amose the Rabbi Beso. One day the Rebbe's maid was sweeping the house. Have Shadayin B'nei Kakushta. So she was sweeping away like small rodents. So those are weasels or tiny mice, whatever it was. Because Kinasha Lahu. She was sweeping them away. Omar lo shavkinu, should leave them alone. See, because it says in the pasuk, it says in Tehillim, it says Toiv Hashem lakol v'rachamai al kol ma'aseh. His mercy is on all of everything that he created. And because when they in Shemaim they heard that Rabbi said such a thing. Omrei hoyel merachem nirachem. Since we see these merachem on something, we'll be merachem on him. Ole.
Here you have my raya for why I don't eat meat. This is my raya.
Kuluhu Shone, for all of the Yisuri, all of the years of Yisurim that Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon was having Yisurim. Lo Shachib Inish below Zimne. And nobody died early. Kuluhu Shnei Yisura de Rabbi Lo Itzrich Alma Lemitra. All the years that Rebbe was taking Yisurim on himself, the world didn't need rain. It was still able to grow all of the produce without any rain falling. To Omar Rabba Baba Shila, Kashi Yoma de Mitra Kiyoma de Dina. It's very difficult that day when it rains. People can't take care of everything they need. They're stuck inside. People need to do things. So it's hard. Omar So the Yom Adin was usually Monday and Thursdays, and it was so it's difficult for people. Rain is Pasha generally not considered easy. For Omar Meimar, Ilav Tzarich LaAlma, Boy Rabbanan Rachme, Ole Mivatlele. If it wasn't that we needed the rain, the Rabbanan would daven and we would stop the rain from coming. Piluachi. Nevertheless, even though that there was no rain the whole time that Rebbe was B'Yisurim, he didn't need rain. However, if they would pluck up like a fruit, a radish from the ground, the hole that the radish would leave would be filled with water. There was still plenty of water. Piluachi habu okre apugla. Mishra, Havikaime Bira Malye Maye. The hole that was made by pulling out the radish was filled with water. There was still a lot of water, even though it never falled in the way that bothered people. Ikla Rabbi La Asre the Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon. Rabbi went to the place of Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon, and he asked, Omale Yesh Lo Ben La Oiso Tzadik. Does Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon have a son that's around here? So Amru Lo Yesh Lo Ben. He does have a son. V'chol Zoyna Shenishkeres B'Shnayim Soichrosu Ba'arba. Any Zoyna that would normally be hired out for $2 would hire him for $4. They change. Asaya, Rebbe went up to him. Yeah, they change it that all of these are supposed to be 4. So they
4 times.
Oh no, for which one?
She hired for 2.
Right, they change.
They hired him for 8. Double.
Those that change it. It's a nusach acheres. So they're.
This is according to Rashi's.
Right.
Rashi's comments.
Right. So chroso we'll say b'shmoni. Asaya. So Rabbi went and brought him to him. Asmechei b'Rabbi. He made him a Rebbe. He gave him smicha right there. In order that he should begin to fit into the position of being chashuv. The Ashmalei, the Rebbe Shimon ben Yosi ben Lekunya. He gave him over to his uncle, who was the brother of his mother, and to Achva the Ima, the brother of his mother, and that man would start tutoring him and teaching him. Kol Yoma Habi Omar L'Kraise Ana Ozil. And then this Rebbe, this son, Rebbe, right? Rebbe, so every day he would say, "I want to go back to my original city." So Omar Le, so the tutors told him, "Chachim Abdu Itach." I made you into a Chacham. We taught you lots of Torah. The Beged the Dava. Pirsu Aleichem, we put golden garments on you. The Rabbi Karulach, and they're calling you Rabbi, and you're reaching greatness. The Ad Amrat Lekraisai Ona Ozil, and you are saying that you want to go back to your city. Then, so the boy said, "Yeah, you're right." And he Amalei Mume Azuva Da. You're right. I'm making like a shvua that I'm not going to say that I want to go back anymore. So he stayed and he kept learning. Ki Gadal also, when he grew, also Yosef ben Mesivta the Rabbi, he came and he sat and he was learning in the yeshiva of Rabbi. Shomei lekole, and Rebbe heard the voice. So Omar Ha kole dome lekole the Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon. That's a voice sounds like the voice of Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon. They told him, "You're right. That's his son." Omrule Brehu, it's his son. So Kori Ole, they called on that boy. They called on him. The pasuk from Mishlei says, "Pri tzaddik eitz chaim." The pri of a tzaddik is an eitz chaim, living tree. The lokeach nefashos chacham. Whoever takes people and brings them close to Hashem is a chacham. So he said, "Pri tzaddik eitz chaim." The lokeach nefashos chacham. Pri tzaddik eitz chaim. Who's that? Zev Rebbe Yosi Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon. That's the boy who grew into a chacham.
You got it?